Hey everybody, welcome to Cards and Sharps. How y'all doing? Good, glad to hear it. Alright, baseball season is just around the corner. As I'm doing this, it's February of 2021. And even though things have been moved back about a month, it's still pretty soon going to be baseball season. So what a better way to combine knives and baseball than to have a look at the fastball. Alright, we're going to look and see if the fastball from Gerber is a strike or if it's an error or whatever other baseball vernacular might apply. If any of you have seen some of the other Gerber videos, you will have seen that been pretty much universally disappointed in most Gerber products. They will look good, look like they have a good design, but then it's generally poorly executed. And I will say, you will see most of them in blister packs at your retail stores, big box stores, things like that. And in my mind, Gerber takes a $10 knife and puts their logo on it and their name, and it becomes a $30 knife just on that, and they fail to execute. And maybe it's I'm expecting more from the name, but and pretty much everything I've tried of theirs, I've walked away thinking that they could have just done it so much better. All right, with that said, I'll try to give the fastball as fair a shake as I can without letting my Gerber bias show through. First and foremost, if you can see it there, it is a made in USA knife, which all things being equal, I will always go with the USA made versus somewhere else because I want to help the home folks with the products. But with that said, for me to be a customer, it still has to be a good value. They can't just default to my loyalty, and it's got to be good product. All right, let's go over some of the stats before we get into what we may or may not like about this knife and in our general impressions. Overall length is 7.10 inches, so just a hair over 7 inches total, with a blade length of 3 inches and a cutting edge of 2.75, so you have a 1/4 inch sharpening choil and where it rolls into the flipper there. The blade steel is CPM S30V, a higher end blade steel. So first off, kudos to Gerber for going with a higher quality steel on this knife. It's no longer considered the top of the line, but it's still up there. It's still good quality steel, good edge retention, all around nice knife material. It's got this flat grind, and then as you can see it here, and then it goes into the thicker part here where it is 0.10 thickness. Not overly thick, but the way the grind is, you don't get that thinner. They could have took a little more material and made it maybe a little more better slicer, but still should work. That that style has worked well on other knives. And you got this Wharncliffe blade. So I personally, I kind of like a Wharncliffe. It's not my favorite, but I don't have anything against it. Handle length is 4 inches, so that fits right where the minimum of the length I like to have to feel really comfortable. And this one does feel comfortable. Aluminum scales, and what you have is a aluminum scale on this side where there is a stainless steel liner, so that you have the liner lock, and on this side the scales actually serve as the frame, so that helps to keep the weight down. And the weight on this is very nice at 2.79, so it's weight wise very carry friendly, not going to weight your pocket down. You can be right or left hand. It's adjustable on the clip, and you can go tip down if you want on this side. So not fully ambidextrous on tip down, but I do not carry tip down, and most people I know don't, so that shouldn't come into play or be that big of a drawback. Got this nice little lanyard hole here, big enough for a nice size lanyard, and does not look too bad at all. Okay, what else we got? We got, as I said, a liner lock, and the design on that is pretty well, not a lot of no scallop in there to really, just a tad to get in there, but then you got the jimping on the liner, so pretty easy to get in there. And then you got a little detent right there, and then you got to get past that coming in and going. Still, I think this one I haven't played with a lot, so I'd say it's not broke in really yet. So I think once you get it broke in, maybe if you need to oil it or take it apart and clean it and oil it or something like that, then maybe it'd work a little smoother, and it should be a one-handable knife without any problem. The bearings are ball bearing, and the pivot here, you got the screw on this side, and then rather than having a frame over here holding the bearings, you got the pivot on this side that holds it, which seems to be a pretty good design, and has a smooth action. And once the initial getting past the detent takes a pretty good effort, and we'll talk here about the flipper here in a second. You got a back spacer here that adds a little bit of extra jimping if you're holding into it. Doesn't really come into play a lot, but could mean that getting a Q-tip in there and having to clean the lint and stuff like that out every now and then, but not a big deal. Alright, so let's compare this to some other well-known knives, give you kind of an idea of the size. There it is with the Delica, very similar size-wise, and as far as much space it's going to take up, and they're about pretty much almost same weight. Then you got the Mini Griptilian here, which it's a little bit bigger than the Griptilian, but still in that kind of that same size range. And then everybody's familiar with the Rat 2. There again, a very similarly sized knife, and actually comes in a little lighter than the Rat will. Okay, so let's see what we think as far as fit, form, function, and value. These are retailing at $99.99, so we're looking at a $100 knife, and what we expect a $100 knife. And like I said, Gerber typically my experience has been they have knives that typically be in the $30 range, $25 to $30 range, and my experience has been with them that once you get them out and handle them and everything, they feel like a $10 knife that they're getting $25, $30 for because they got the Gerber name. You know, so and at this point, I'm not sure the Gerber name is very synonymous with quality knives, and they're trying to change that with the Fastball. First off, I will say this is definitely feels like a better quality knife than their lower end, which it should. It's a $100 knife versus a $25 to $30 knife, so I would expect quite a bit more, and I expect more than just it's saying made in USA and the S30V still taking a, that doesn't make a $20 knife a $100 knife just in those things. It's got to deliver on some value and some quality. The blade on this one is a little off center. Not enough that it seems to be causing any drag or anything, but and part of that is I think it's centered compared to the scales, but then it's closer to the frame, so that may just be more as a function of that than anything. So all in all, if you just compare it to scale to scale, it is centered pretty nicely. Pocket clip feels like a good quality clip. And then the scales are aluminum, but they have a kind of a texturing to them that doesn't make them feel slick. They may become slick if wet or get blood on them or something like that, but just holding it in your hand does not feel slick and has a nice, comfortable feel to it. No real hot spots, not any sharp edges that really have found the most. They could have used a little better finishing, I think, on the inside of the scales. It's not sharp that like cuts you sharp, but you feel it, and on the back side as well. The frame finish seems to be pretty nice. No jumping on the back at all. But I mean, you feel like you have a pretty decent purchase on it, so it's not, doesn't feel, and with the flipper down there, you feel like you got your fingers in there and you got some jimping on the frame lock, so you feel like you have a pretty good hold of it. And you got this little bit jimping on the back spacer, which unless you're really squeezing down on it, is not going to come into play. The clip doesn't really present a hot spot or anything uncomfortable like that. One thing, having flipped this a few times, I'm going to say the finishing on the flipper is starting to, I've done enough now, it's starting to feel like a little more rounded. It had a couple of sharp edges in there and was actually pretty painful. And then that flipping is, once you get it going, it's got a really nice snap to, and will really take off once you get past that detent. But if you was to sit and fidget with this knife, in this example, I don't know if they're all like this, but it would become quite painful. Carrying in your pocket, haven't been messing with it or anything like that. First few times, it's not really going to be that painful. So just especially now that it's got a little more rounded feeling on that. Really, the first probably 10 times I flipped this thing, it was a sharp edge on some of that. So It does feel like it's rounded off some now. Probably just a burr that didn't get knocked off very well. All right, so here, first impression is that a $100 knife? And I'm honestly going to say I don't think so. What this feels like is akin to very similar, a little bigger, but very similar design with the Warncliffe to kind of reminiscent of the Kershaw Leak or some of the other Ken Onion designs. Has that very similar look and feel to it, and quality wise, and I'm talking about knives that will come in the, different variations of the Leak or say the Blur or something like that. Will fall in the $30 to $50 range, and that's where this feels like this knife belongs. I mean, it's not, it definitely feels better than a $10 knife out of a blister pack, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see this in a blister as well. Again, I think by what they have stamped on that blade, from the Made in USA to the S30V, they think that magically makes this a $100 knife, when it's in my feeling in the operation, the feel of it and all that, it feels like more like a $35 to $50 knife. And I'm not enough of a blade snob or a steel snob to pay $50 extra for S30V over D2 unless I'm getting something more to it. Like for instance, this is a S30V knife, mini grip Tillion, and it actually will come in under $100. You should be able to pick these up for about $89, somewhere in that range, if you find them on sale or something, maybe even a little better than that. And this just feels like a better delivered product. As far as features, the way it feels, just in the operation, design, and it just feels like a more quality product, and that's even with these Grivery or whatever they call their plastic scales versus aluminum. This just does not feel in the same range as this knife, and I don't even think it feels in the same range as the Delica as far as just feel the quality in the hand. And the Delica you can get for $75-80. So now this one you're getting VG10 versus S30V, but still good serviceable steel. And so I think it's kind of a shame that they took, they're taking good steel, American made, and nice looking knife. Has nothing real new that we haven't seen. Like I said, this is very reminiscent of the Kershaw knives, many that they have. But as far as the way it feels, the operation, the deployment, the ease of the way the lock works and all that, there's several knives out there in half the price of this that just I pick up, I hold, and I operate, and just feel like it's a better knife. I'm not picking on Gerber to be picking on Gerber. I really wish they would make a good product. I've had good success, and I've have a close to a 30-year-old Gerber multi-tool that still going strong after 30 years, and I love it and still use it all the time, and have yet to buy any of the newer multi-tools because it has served me so well over the years. So I know Gerber has made good quality products. Now, I wish they'd either get serious with knives or just get out of it altogether, maybe create a different name. And I don't know if it's because, Fiskars, who made my mat here, here, if it's them, if it's their issue, reason that Gerber is not really delivering the best of knives, I don't know. Some people really love this. I've watched a lot of reviews, and some folks just really love this. They think Gerber really hit a home run with the fastball, and I really wanted to think so, and I was really looking forward to this coming in, but I don't know if this example is just bad because, I just happen to get one that just isn't quite as smooth. I don't know, but that, if you're going to make $100 knives, I think you should be able to grab any one and it's going to operate as well as any. And that's one thing about Benchmade. I've yet to pick up two different knives of the same one and be that big of a difference. I mean, sure, there's going to be lemons in every pot, but this one just does not have the. I think they're on their way, but I just don't think they quite have got there yet. This is another flipper knife, a lot better action, easier access and operate liner lock. This is the CRKT. This is Chinese made, and this one's a well-made knife, great action, good finish, fit, and this is a $35 to $40 knife, depending on where you get it. And if you slap S30V on this, does it become a $100 knife? Well, if you think this one, that makes this one a $100 knife, then yes, it would. So that's where I'm at with that. Just not, with it in hand, I'm just not seeing the price there. I think it's a $35 to $40 knife. Upgrade steel makes it about a $60 knife in my mind. Just from, and even at that, in handling it, there's a lot of knives in that price range that I would pick over this one. But that is just my opinion. Everybody's got one, and it's just based on this one knife. I'm not going to say don't get it. If you get one, I would say try it out. Maybe not order it online or anything like that. Go to a place where you can actually see, feel, touch it, check the operation of it, and make sure that it feels good and operates well to your hand and everything. Otherwise, I mean, it's a very nice looking knife, good weight, and should be a good everyday carry with enough of blades, with the blade style, the blade steel should be provide you some good medium duty work. So that is my thoughts on the fastball. I think it's maybe more of a change-up than a high heater, but that's my honest opinion, and love to hear what you guys think. I mean, have you out there seen this knife? What have you heard about it? Have you owned it? What's your thoughts? I'd like to think that maybe this one just ain't as the best example that they could put out, but I don't know. Based on what I'm looking at, I'm just not considering it that great of a value. Definitely would not replace any of my current daily carry knives with this one. Alright guys, hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you found this at all helpful, entertaining, informational, or irritating, or anything else like that. And be sure and hit comment. I love to get comments. I like to have generate some good discussion on some of the knives with the comments. So, and I try to read and respond to any sensible, fair comments. If anybody just wanting to make nasty remarks or anything like that, you can bet those will be ignored, and I won't honor those with a reply. Alright guys, that is it. We will see you next time.